Hey, Facebook, how are you? Welcome to another edition of Power Pearls Unplugged. This is the video edition of Power Pearls podcast. So I got you guys here live, and over here, I got Instagram. So it's been a while since I've been both simultaneously. I really love it. It's like I get this rush from, going on both platforms at the same time. It's a lot of fun. And also, I was listening to Don't Stop Believing by Journey. So that helps. I don't know what it is. I was in the kitchen. I was making some stuff, getting ready for like making an awesome dinner for my peeps, my family tonight. And I just had some great music on and I was reminiscing. So I was listening to Journey. I don't usually listen to Journey, but I was. So as a kid, that was my favorite band. Oh my goodness. So I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. Don't stop believing. Okay. So what are we talking about? So here we are. This is Friday Unplugged. And today I'm going to answer a burning question that I get quite a bit from my clients, my coaching clients, and also people that listen to the podcast. They write in, they ask me this, and it is my creative idea viable? Is it viable? So that's something I'm going to talk about in this broadcast today. And I'll also explain what a content calendar is. And this is something that I talk about during the episode, episode 82. So if you guys haven't listened to the episode yet, powerpearlspodcast.com/82 to listen to my conversation with Cynthia Younger. She's one of my coaching clients, and it is the first ever on-air coaching session. And I decided to do this because, I really want to pay forward this with you guys. If you're struggling with something very, very similar, because, I know that I've enjoyed those types of podcast episodes that I listen to, business podcasts that work out a problem on air with their client. So I decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing because I think it would be really great. So, but anyway, so we're going to talk about that, and then, like I said, a content calendar. How do you create a content calendar? Which I go into a little bit of that in the episode. But it is your secret weapon for success if you are wanting to start a fiber loving business. Okay, so I'm going to say hello to some of you guys here on Facebook. So Jen is in the room. Hello, Jen. We were chit-chatting this morning through Facebook Messenger. So Jen, you're trying to start an indie pattern collection. So you had some really great questions today. So keep them coming because I think that your questions are the same that many people actually have at the beginning of their journey. Karen is here. Hello, nice to see you. So this is great. So we're just going to keep on moving. I'm going to go into the episode. I'm going to talk about, kind of dig right in, go right into what it is that this live video is all about today. But before we do, I would love it if you guys would share this with your friends, share this with your Facebook friends and your Instagram friends. So please, that would be awesome because as I say, the more the merrier. And it creates a really fun experience if more of us are interacting together. So if you know of anyone that would benefit from watching this video, please pay that forward. That would be awesome. Okay, so are you guys ready? All right, let's go. So hot off the presses, like I said, is episode 82. And this is the latest episode on Power Pearls podcast. And it is a little bit different than usual because it is the first ever on-air coaching session. And I decided to do this, like I said, because I know that, there are many of you guys that are struggling with similar things when it comes to starting a creative business. And one of the things that I hear often is, how do I start this fiber loving side hustle, right? Is it viable? Is my idea viable? And who is going to want it? And furthermore, who's even going to, how do I even get started? What's the first thing? And I know, Jen, that was something that we were talking about this morning. Like, where do I start? Where do I even begin? And so I'm going to give you some ideas. We're going to jump right into that. But here's my question back to you guys. The burning question back to you guys is, do you have an idea? But maybe you're fearful. Maybe you're fearful to get it out there because you don't think you have enough experience or anyone is going to want it. So it's time, you guys, to get out from behind the bushes, Facebook and Instagram. Okay. Get out from behind the bushes. A teacher gave that advice to me years ago, and I will never forget it. So, all right. So then I'll circle back to what you guys say to that question that I just posed to you. So hello, Bev. Nice to see you. And I just saw Bev the other day. Was it yesterday? No, it was the day before yesterday. Now, Bev is local to me. So we met up in Fort Wayne, Indiana for a lovely time. We had Thai food and we didn't have coffee. I was going to say we had coffee, but we didn't. We were going to have coffee, but we ended up having lunch and it was wonderful. So Bev and Judy joined me for a wonderful lunch and we talked all things knitting. And so Bev took my shawl maker course, the challenge a few weeks ago. And so we were just talking about that. And, it's just some of the things that they learned during the challenge. So it was a lot of fun. Okay. So I'll circle back to that question. Again, I'll repeat it for a few of you guys that may have come in. So my burning question is, do you have an idea, but maybe you're fearful to get it out there because you don't think you have enough experience or anyone is going to really want it? So, as I said, time to get out from behind the bushes. All right. Yes, Bev, next time, coffee, because I love my coffee. So I talked to you about that place called Conjure Coffee. That is such a cool place in Fort Wayne. And there's another place called, oh my gosh, the name is slipping my mind right now. It'll probably come back to me at like the weirdest moment during this broadcast. Okay. So I'll circle back to that question in just a little bit. And so I want to start out with something that Marie Forleo says. She says, clarity comes from engagement. So you have to get out there and start having those conversations to see if your ideas are viable and ask people what they want. What do they want? That's all. Just ask. That's all you have to do. Just ask. And I'm not saying that you need to be pushy. No, we're not saying that, right? It's about having the genuine conversations, right? And what better place to start those conversations than to have them right here on Facebook, right here. There are so many amazing groups popping up all the time here. So have those genuine conversations in those groups and you're going to learn so much. And at the same time, you're going to make some nice friends. So do it from a place that's meaningful, that's heartfelt. So, all right. So I'm going to move on. So I'm going to give some tips, to help you guys get moving, to start figuring out if your idea, your business idea, your creative business idea is viable. To find this out, here you go. So there are three tips that I'm going to share with you. Okay. So number one is to join a Facebook group. I just said that. So joining those groups. So join a Facebook group. Okay. Because like I said, there are so many out there, so many amazing groups. So getting in there, having those conversations, maybe it's like spending 15 minutes a day. That's all you need to do. But first, find one group because it's so easy to go down a rabbit hole and join like a bazillion groups. You know what I mean? So find one that really resonates with you and start having genuine conversations. But make sure that you read the group rules. Do not spam anyone and do not try to sell anything. That is just right off the bat. I personally think that that's like a common sense thing, but some people don't, they don't get that. You know what I mean? So tip number two is start a conversation and be a person of value. So I started to say that, but the second part of this tip is to become a person of value. So we all have something to offer. So give your advice and help someone and really scan through the questions that are coming up or things that are coming, because people are always asking questions in groups, especially business groups, but it doesn't have to be a business group. It can just be like a knitting group. Like if you go to Knit Chat or the Fiber Boss or any of those kinds of groups, there are people that are talking, they're in business. So there's crossover. They might be in business or wanting to start that side hustle, or they just want to expand their knitting know-how and their skills. See how you can help them. And, so just, that's the only motive, is to just help. That's it. And then number 3 is make friends with Google. So make Google your best friend. So research the dickens out of your idea. Yep. See who's doing it. If you see a bunch of people doing what you want to do, guess what? That's good news. Don't let this deter you, okay? Because we might think, oh my gosh, so many people are doing it. There's so much competition. Don't go there, because this is good news, okay? It means that there's a demand for what it is that you offer. Now, I would be wary. I'd be afraid if there was nothing, if there were crickets and you looked for, so you did a search on what it is that you want to do, your idea, your business model, and there was nothing out there, then I'd be worried, because that might mean that there's, that nobody really is going to want that. So those are the 3 tips. And I'm going to hop over here to Instagram, because Samantha has placed a comment. When I feel intimidated, I remind myself that most knitwear designers in 2018 have formal training. We're all learning on the go. Well, it's actually, I think, did you mean to say they don't have formal training? Because Samantha, I just want you to know that most knitwear designers do not have formal training. No, because, actually, when I was in school, and even after that, there's no courses. There was nothing out there for a career path for knitwear design. And today there is still not really a career path. Although I will say, because I'm a graduate of Parsons School of Design in New York City, I do know that now Parsons does have a career path for knitting and knitwear design, which is amazing. And so do some of the other schools, like maybe FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology. But as far as I know, it is not mainstream. And most people that you see out there on Ravelry, Samantha, these are people, Ravelry designers, and there are many that do, but a lot of designers do not have formal training, and they learn from mentors. They learn from books. They take online courses. They take courses at places like TNNA. They consume books like Designing Knitwear by Deborah Newton, and Maggie Righetti has a book as well. Deborah Newton and Maggie Righetti, they're like the pioneers. So yeah, I don't think, sorry, have no, Samantha, I'm so sorry, because yes, that's what you meant. Samantha corrected herself and said, yes, most have no formal training. And that is absolutely correct. So please, you guys, don't be deterred. Don't be afraid, because I hear all the time, is my idea viable? But even beyond that is, I'm not good enough. I don't have enough experience, because that's what this goes into, Samantha, more of that, like not having enough know-how. And I tell my clients this, and they know this. I always say, you only need to be a few steps ahead of the people that you teach. So if you want to teach online courses and you are a course at your local yarn shop or at a knitting show like Stitches or TNNA, which is the National Needle Arts Trade Association trade show, which is twice a year, you only need to be a step ahead of them, because if you're a great teacher and you can articulate yourself, that's exactly what matters. And as long as you articulate the most important stuff, right? Let me take that back. As long as you articulate fact and what is correct, and you do not lead people down the wrong path. And speaking of TNNA, this is a little public announcement. I'm going to be next month in Cleveland, Ohio, is they call it the big show at TNNA, I should say, because there's a show on the West Coast in January, and then the big show, which is because it's the fall buying season for yarn. It's the big show in June. This year it is in Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm going to be teaching a course about how to podcast. So how to call yourself or be a media, not call yourself, but call yourself a media company, become a media company and start a podcast, and also how to pitch to get yourself on a podcast like Power Pearls podcast, right? But how to do that, and also how to do a little marketing, launch your podcast. And then during the course, there's going to be a lab portion, which means it's hands-on. And I'm going to actually show you how to edit a podcast episode. Very simple, very, very simple stuff. And that's optional because, people can just watch, because everything's going to be on a nice big screen, PowerPoint, but people are bringing their laptop computers, and they're going to be doing a little editing. So if you are part of the National Needle Arts Trade Association and you've been thinking about podcasting, you can take my course. So you can check it out by going to tnna.org and just look me up, because you'll see my class. So anyway, that came out of nowhere, but I felt like that it was the right time to talk about that. Okay. So all right. So here we go. So I'm going to move on, and I'm going to switch gears just a little bit here and talk about episode 82. So, like I said before, this is an on-air coaching session with Cynthia Younger, who is a budding fiber business owner. And she is my guest, but also I'm doing an on-air live coaching with her. And it is packed with value nuggets. So if you guys want to listen to that episode, you can go to powerpearlspodcast.com/82. And by the way, if you ever want to listen to any episode, all you got to do is put a / and the episode number. So if I mention any episode here, episode 75, then that's all you have to do is use that little extension and you'll find it. Super, super easy. Okay. So it's the first on-air coaching. So you're going to see more. Right now, I've got 2 more in the bag, 2 more coaching sessions coming up, and more to come in the future. And so what I'm doing in the episode is I'm helping Cynthia tackle some of the struggles that she's dealing with. And I help her kind of come up with a measurable outcome. That's something I talk about in my programs, because it really is about creating goals and having one big goal, and then because then lots of other little sub goals come out of that big goal, but one main objective, one vision, one overarching vision, and creating a measurable outcome from that. And so that was what I was trying to help Cynthia do to help move her business concept forward. We also discuss how to implement a content calendar. So I go into that just a little bit. So this is also known as an editorial calendar. So maybe some of you guys are familiar with the idea of an editorial calendar. So this is something that I lived by as the executive editor of Creative Knitting Magazine, if any of you guys are familiar. So I was the editor of the magazine for a little over 7 years, with the publishing company for over 10, and in the needle arts world for 15 plus years, designing, working as an illustrator, so on and so forth. So an editorial calendar is what I used. And let me tell you, that magazine would not get out on time if I didn't have an editorial calendar. It's what publishers use. It is a traditional thing that's been around for a long time. And now in the online world, really, I mean, it's been adopted. It's amazing. It's huge. It is like a deal breaker, right? So anyway, it is something that's going to help you stay consistent. And that is the key word, staying consistent. So if that is something that you struggle with, maybe it's a good idea to take a look at whether you've got something like an editorial calendar going on in your business or your soon to be business. So that's another question for you to drop it down below. Do you struggle? And that is for those of you guys out there that have a business, you want to start a side business, and then maybe you're trying to build your content ahead of time, which is something that is a really good idea, and then you can create a nice launch of everything that you've created. But to really see this and have a nice aerial view of exactly what it is that you can do or what you're going to do, then you can see all the themes. You can see where you have holes and where you can fill those in. So anyway, that's kind of the idea of it. So what is it exactly? So what is an editorial calendar exactly? So I'm going to kind of go into that a little bit here so you guys can understand. So it is either a document it's a document of some sort, a spreadsheet. It could be a project management tool like Asana, which is something that I use quite often in my business. I don't know what I would do without Asana. I got to be honest. It is an amazing tool. But anyway, so I have 4 pieces of content that relate to one topic. Okay. My one topic every week. And so I put out a podcast episode, a blog post, my newsletter, and I do this weekly video, these live videos. And each week on my calendar, you can see that if you were to see my calendar, which I will show maybe in a future podcast here, or a future podcast or a future live video, if that's of interest to you guys. So I'd love to hear if that's the case, and let me know in the comments here. So the topic is plugged in. So every week I put out content, and the topic is plugged into my editorial calendar. And then for each of the different pieces, I map out what it is that I'm going to do in the newsletter, on the podcast, for the blog post, and here for these live videos. And next, I place all of this into my Google Calendar. So then it has a deadline attached to it. And then I also use a project management tool such as Asana. And also, CoSchedule is another one. That's a marketing cloud, that they call this a marketing cloud. So, it's a fancy word for like you can kind of schedule more than just social media. In CoSchedule, you can schedule blog posts, you can schedule tasks, and you can schedule social media posts and also make them evergreen. And then these things really help me to be ninja focused. And then also I use a paper system. So I do have a planner behind me. Where is that planner? So I have something, this is called a full focus planner. This is Michael Hyatt. This is his planner. It's great. This is actually a quarter right here because it's two pages. So you guys can't see it. If you're listening to the audio version of Unplugged, you can't see this. So I won't show you, but I'll just mention it. So full focus planner. I absolutely love it. And then behind me, again, you won't be able to see this if you're listening to the audio only, but I'm going to turn my screen just a little bit. And same for you, Instagram. You can kind of see over my, I'll put my Instagram. It's like maneuvering things here. You see the calendar in the background there? So this is it's like my content calendar, larger than life, visual, 3-dimensional, almost, sort of. So you can see that they're these big, this is like, you can buy dry erase calendars like this. Okay. So, this is hilarious. I just got a message from my husband. The royal wedding is on Saturday, not today. Okay. Anyway, I thought it was today. Sorry for that silly little moment, but that's what you get when you're on live video. Okay. Distraction. Okay. So there's my paper calendar. Now I got this at Walmart, and it is like a desk calendar. You know, those desk calendars that have been around since, I don't know, forever. And it's perforated, has perforated pages because you tear them out when you're done with the month. Well, instead, what I do is I take those pages and put them on my wall, and usually I do 3 months at a time. You actually can see, I have 5 at a time. I just took April down, and just moved up May and June. And then I have July, August, and September up there as well. And so what I use are sticky notes, so I can move them around, or I write in pencil. And so you can't see because it's far away. And also this is good for the audio, people listening to the audio. I have blue sticky notes up there and very bright yellow neon. You can only see one little teeny tiny bright neon one. Those are for my launches. I don't have any launches planned just yet because I just finished one. And the blue is for my content writing days. So that's that. So I'm going to shift you guys back. And then all that stuff goes into, like I said, my Google Calendar, Asana, CoSchedule, and all of this stuff helps me to stay ninja focused. So Samantha on Instagram says, would love to see that sometimes. I use Trello to organize my business and family life. Yes, Trello is awesome. I use Trello for, so I have, I do freelance work as well. And so I do illustration and layout work for clients, and I have one client that really loves using Trello. So I use Trello, but I am a big fan of Asana because of the list making possibilities there. And I favor that, but we all have our favorite. So both are really awesome. But yes, Samantha, I will show, I think you're referring to what I said before about showing my content calendar, actually the digital version, how I organize myself. I'll be happy to do that one of these days on a live video so I can share my screen. So Samantha, that means you'll have to come on over to Facebook because I can't share my screen here on Instagram, at least not yet. Maybe at some point we'll be able to. So in kind of to kind of wrap that part up is, a content calendar really eliminates the guesswork. So you're not left wondering what your next blog post or live video will be. Learning how to create a content calendar is something that I teach my coaching clients. So I teach this in my programs. So if you want to learn more about that, you can just kind of see what it's all about. You can go to karagottwarner.com/work with Kara. And then you get just kind of like the breakdown of all that I do in the program, just to see, what it's all about. So if your goal is to start or grow an online fiber-loving business, nailing down a content calendar in advance will make a dramatic difference in how you run your business. Trust me. You won't have that fly by the seat of your pants kind of experience, right? I know what that feels like. So I get an amen. Yes, I understand that one. With a content calendar, you have the power in your hands to decide in advance, right? What you'll accomplish. And so implementing this one goal, seriously, it can have a dramatic impact on your existing or new business. So just something to consider. And hey, you could use a content calendar to run your life. Seriously. So also I want to share with you guys, I have a new update or a new list, update list, I guess we could call it. So it's you can sign up for my Fiber Loving Biz Makers list for tips, advice, strategies like this to help you move the needle on your business, or if you're itching to finally start that side gig. So you can go to karagottwarner.com/fiber loving biz. So /fiber loving biz to sign up. Just get lots of good resources from me. All right. So, and I'm going to wrap this up by a quote again, Marie Forleo, love her. And she says, everything is figure outable. All right. So you guys, with that, I'm going to wrap it up and I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next week. All right. Take care.